everybody in the industry should understand these companies are coming for you now. They grew up in the United States. They invented and developed these products here. There's been increasing government and consumer pressure on these companies to reform here. And in response to that, they're moving around the world to other countries, looking for basically viewing countries like India as the new Wild West in terms of their ability to get more people hooked on their products. And so the message I'd want to convey is that they're coming for you with incredibly clever formulations and science and marketing strategies. They're coming for you. So salt sugar fat came about when I sort of gained access to the largest manufacturers of processed food in the United States and in the world, and got access to documents, thousands and thousands of pages of their internal memos and emails and white strategy papers. And then I got interviews with kind of key people in the industry who opened up and revealed even more secrets. And the overwhelming sense you get from that material, which is the basis of the book, Salt, Sugar, Fat, is that this is an industry that's been driving night and day to get us to not just like their products, but to want more and more of them. And part of the strategy they use is extraordinary science to develop formulations that we can't resist, especially using salt, sugar, fat in perfect amounts that drive us crazy and cause cravings. But the other thing they're really, really good at is marketing, is knowing that many people eat for emotional reasons. And so much of their effort then is aimed at getting inside our heads with advertising and kind of repetitive behavior that makes us even more vulnerable to their products. And so it's kind of the combination of this extraordinary science and then good old marketing and advertising to get us hooked and keep us hooked. The companies have gotten even smarter in their ability to get us to do their bidding, to get us to think about food in a way that they want us to think about food. So it's actually gotten somewhat harder to go into the grocery store and kind of tell like what's good for you and what's like danger and I should be kind of worried about. The other thing that's happened too since 2013 is that the divide, between the haves and the have-nots, between people who have the resources and the knowledge to eat better and healthier and those who don't has grown wider and wider. And so what you see these companies doing is this race to the bottom to exploit the most vulnerable people, not only here in the United States where this industry started, but all around the world now. And so you see them branching out into other countries and starting to dominate the eating habits of people all around the world in ways that you didn't see even 10 years ago.
These companies conduct also differently in different markets. So in the regulated markets, the kind of quality of food that they sell is different from what they sell in the semi regulated or unregulated markets. So did you see a difference there? Did you see that they discriminated, or they had these policies which kind of discriminated, and according to that they manufactured the products?
So part of the, inside the companies are people whose job it is to study those rules and then convey that information to the people formulating the products, right? And there is no, there's, there, and the job of those people following the regulations is to make sure their products, just barely meet the standards of whatever country they're marketing to. The flip side of that is that they also know that people's tastes vary around the world. And there are some places in the world where people like sweet things more than other places. And the industry is really good kind of being sensitive to that and formulating products that meet those specific tastes, not just the regulations on the taste, but the specific taste that people love. There's a terrific story about the invention of Tang, which was this powdered drink that astronauts, that was invented for astronauts for use up in space. Very sugary. But back in the 1970s, the company selling Tang, which was this old company called General Foods, was testing it in China, and they realized that the further south they went in China, the more sweeter people liked the formulation, which was a real kind of light bulb moment for this industry, realizing that there are places where they can exploit that higher liking of sugar. And then there are places where maybe they should be more careful about that. Europe is a case in point where until recently, most Europeans couldn't stand the level of sweetness that's prevalent in so many American foods. Um, I was totally shocked to learn that the Nutrition Facts Box was the invention of none other than the food industry as a way of putting our fears and concerns about what's in these products, easing those fears and concerns by telling us kind of what the nutritional components is. The problem with that is that looking at these products only in terms of their nutrient, ingredients doesn't really tell you or answer the question, is this like real food that I should be eating and serving to my kids? And also doesn't sort of tell you what's missing in these products, especially, wholesome natural fiber, for example, and other things that are part of, that make all the difference between a piece of fresh fruit and the sugar you get in a soda or even fruit juice. So some of the strategy of the companies have been exploiting kind of our dependence on nutrition information to make our purchase habits. And then the other part of the companies is that they just experiment with new products and they test market, and they'll put kids in a room and give them Lunchables and see them and study their reaction. They even do sort of brain scans on consumers to see how the brain responds to their products, and they're just really, really good at determining what we will go crazy for. The downside is the hidden cost in that speed, and we're getting really close now to a point where for every dollar we spend on processed food, which, by the way, is something like 60 to 70 to 80% of the products in the grocery store we're talking about. For every dollar we spend on those products, we're having to spend another dollar on healthcare and other things to fix the trouble that those products are causing in our lives. And that's something that the food companies themselves, really haven't been able to sort of grapple with. They're simply in the business of making it as cheap and accessible and convenient as possible.